Beyond the Gate spoilers tease that a long-buried animosity between Nicole Richardson and Leslie Thomas is about to explode into something far darker than anyone imagined. Their feud, already a topic of whispered gossip and hushed speculation, finally came to a head in a tense confrontation outside the community center. Nicole, known for her sharp tongue and unapologetic confidence, didn't back down even when Leslie accused her of years of public humiliation and personal sabotage. The shouting match drew a crowd. No punches were thrown, but the emotional damage was evident. Days later, Leslie appeared in public wearing a neck brace and walking with a slight limp. She claimed the injuries were from the altercation with Nicole, though no one had seen her fall or get struck. Some suspected she was exaggerating, even faking it, but Leslie was convincing. She took photos. She visited urgent care. She even posted a cryptic message online implying that she was considering legal action. The town, always hungry for scandal, quickly took sides. Nicole, unfazed, brushed off the drama. "She's bluffing," she told her husband Ted. "She's always been desperate for attention. She won't do anything." Ted wasn't so sure. He had known Leslie once, intimately, and he understood how dangerous she could be when she felt cornered. But even he underestimated the depth of her resentment. And he would soon regret not taking her threats seriously. Leslie, behind closed doors, seethed. Her daughter Eva tried to calm her, urging her to take the high road. But Leslie was beyond reason. She believed Nicole had destroyed her life years ago, and this time, she wasn't going to let it slide. The accident she claimed had happened might have been staged, but the pain Leslie felt was very real, psychological, emotional, personal. And it festered. Nicole, meanwhile, remained focused on her family. Her daughter Kat had begun noticing the tension getting worse. Nicole tried to downplay it, but Kat saw the stress in her mother's eyes, the way she flinched every time the phone rang or avoided crowded places. Feeling helpless, Kat turned to someone she thought could be a neutral voice, Eva. Eva was charming, calm, and mature beyond her years. Kat hoped Eva could talk to Leslie and cool things down. But their conversation didn't go as planned. Midway through, Kat caught Eva in a deeply compromising moment, kissing Kat's boyfriend, Thomas, behind the art gallery after hours. Kat stood frozen in shock, unable to process the betrayal. When Eva saw her, she didn't even look surprised, just smug. That night, Kat went home, furious and heartbroken. She tried to speak with her mother, but Nicole wasn't there. Her car was missing, her phone went straight to voicemail, and she hadn't answered any texts. At first, Kat assumed she was out cooling off. But as hours passed and there was still no word, panic set in. Kat called her father. Ted, alarmed, tried calling Nicole himself. Nothing. He drove around town, retracing her usual routes. Nothing. Finally, Kat sat him down and told him her theory. "I think Leslie did something. She said she'd make Mom pay. And now she's gone." Ted wanted to dismiss the idea, to chalk it up to stress and fear, but deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that Kat was right. The timing, the threats, the sudden silence, all aligned too perfectly. He drove to Leslie's house that night and demanded answers. Leslie greeted him coolly, as if she'd been expecting the visit. When he accused her of harming Nicole, she didn't deny or confirm it. Instead, she shifted the conversation. "You always blame me when things go wrong. Funny, considering you weren't so innocent yourself," she said, her voice sweet with venom. "Remember us, Ted? Remember how you betrayed Nicole? How you came to me first?" Ted flinched. The affair had been brief, a decade ago, a moment of weakness he had long tried to forget. Nicole had never known. And now Leslie was weaponizing it. "I haven't told anyone," she continued, leaning in. "But I could. Or I could forget this whole thing if you stop making accusations." She was manipulating him expertly. For a moment, Ted even considered that maybe she wasn't involved. Maybe Nicole really had just left, overwhelmed by stress. But Kat wouldn't let it go. Later that night, Kat hacked into her mother's Find My Phone account and tracked the last known location to a wooded area just outside the old train station. Ted and Kat drove there together and found Nicole's car abandoned, keys still in the ignition, purse on the passenger seat. It wasn't just strange, it was terrifying. Kat sobbed as Ted called the police. Officers arrived within minutes and began a search. They found no blood, no signs of struggle, but the implication was clear: Nicole hadn't left voluntarily. In the days that followed, Leslie played the role of concerned neighbor to perfection. She showed up to volunteer at the search, gave interviews, even helped put up flyers. Ted watched her the entire time, unable to read her. Eva stayed quiet, barely seen in public, always avoiding Kat. The betrayal burned. But behind closed doors, the truth simmered. Leslie had orchestrated Nicole's disappearance. She had drugged her during a staged meeting under the pretense of resolving their feud. Eva, reluctantly, helped, pressured by guilt, by loyalty, by a lifetime of emotional manipulation. They moved Nicole to a hidden storage unit owned by Leslie's cousin who lived out of town. She was alive, but sedated, kept unconscious for days at a time. Eva had broken down more than once. "We have to let her go," she whispered to her mother. "This has gone too far." Leslie was unmoved. "She has to understand what she did to me. To us." But Eva knew they were running out of time. If Nicole woke up fully and screamed, someone might hear. If Kat kept digging, she might find something. Eva began sneaking her burner phone into the storage unit, leaving it near Nicole. One night, she activated the voice recording feature and walked away. Back at home, Kat started receiving strange, distorted audio clips from an unknown number. At first, she thought it was a prank until she recognized her mother's voice in one of them. Ted handed the phone to police. The recording wasn't enough to confirm location, but it was enough to reopen the case as a criminal investigation. And somewhere, in the dark of that concrete room, Nicole slowly opened her eyes. Nicole blinked slowly, her vision swimming as the ceiling above her came into focus. The dim light flickered, and the smell of bleach and concrete burned her nose. Her wrists ached, and her throat was raw. She tried to sit up but couldn't. Then she heard footsteps, quick and light. Eva hesitated at the threshold, guilt carved deep into her face. She knelt beside Nicole and whispered, "I didn't know she was going to keep you this long. I thought it was just to scare you. I didn't sign up for this." Her voice cracked. She held out a bottle of water and unscrewed the cap, helping Nicole drink. "Please," Nicole rasped, "let me go." Eva looked behind her, paranoid. She shook her head. "I can't. Not yet. But I left a recording. I sent it to Kat. The police know something. Just hang on." Nicole's eyes blazed with a mixture of pain and rage. She won't stop. Kat, meanwhile, couldn't sleep. The distorted clips haunted her. She replayed them endlessly, analyzing every sound. In one of them, faint train whistles echoed in the background. Another had a dripping sound, a metal clang. With Ted's help, she narrowed it down to an old freight storage facility miles outside town. It had been abandoned for years, supposedly. Kat took a risk. She drove out there without telling the police. What she found confirmed her fear: fresh tire tracks in the dirt, a padlocked door that looked newly installed. She took photos, then drove straight to the sheriff's office. The search warrant was issued within the hour. When the police raided the facility, Nicole was semi-conscious, bruised, dehydrated, but alive. Eva had fled minutes earlier. Leslie was nowhere in sight. News broke like wildfire. Headlines called it a kidnapping. The community reeled. Interviews poured in. Some defended Leslie, claiming Nicole had provoked her. Others were stunned silent. Ted barely left Nicole's side. He wept when she woke fully. "I thought I lost you," he whispered. "You almost did," she replied. Kat didn't cry. She was angry, focused, determined. Leslie, knowing the game was up, had gone underground. She used old connections, cashed in favors, moved from safe house to safe house. But Eva wasn't with her. The daughter she once controlled had finally broken free. Eva went to the police. She confessed everything. How her mother staged the feud, how she manipulated Eva into helping, how she pretended to reconcile with Kat just to hurt her. The confession was damning. With it, the police built a full timeline. Arrest warrants were issued. But still, Leslie remained at large. Nicole, recovering at home, gave a public statement days later. Her voice was steady. She didn't show weakness. She named Leslie as her captor. She thanked Kat and Ted for never giving up. But she also said something that caught the town by surprise. This was never just about me. This was about history. Unresolved pain. Hidden betrayal. Leslie did a monstrous thing, but we all ignored the signs for years. I won't do that again. She promised to fund a legal initiative to support victims of psychological manipulation and coercive abuse, especially those hidden behind suburban facades. As Nicole rebuilt her life, Kat faced the fallout of her heartbreak. Thomas tried to reach her repeatedly, swearing Eva had seduced him, that it meant nothing. Kat blocked his number. She didn't need him. Her mother had survived. Her family was still standing. That was what mattered. Eva, in exchange for her cooperation, was granted limited immunity. She moved in with her aunt in another city, starting therapy and taking classes online. For the first time, she lived free of Leslie's influence. But freedom came with guilt. She had helped commit a crime she could never undo. Ted resigned from the firm. The stress, the shame of being manipulated again by Leslie, weighed heavy. He chose instead to work part-time as a legal advisor for Nicole's initiative. They weren't the same couple as before, but there was still a foundation of something deeper than romance resilience. The town, shaken by the scandal, slowly returned to normal. But the scars remained. Some still whispered about Nicole behind her back. Others viewed her as a survivor, a leader. Leslie's name was now synonymous with deceit. One cold morning, nearly 3 months later, the sheriff received an anonymous tip. A woman matching Leslie's description had been spotted at an old motel near the state line. When they arrived, they found the room empty. But on the bed was a photograph Nicole and Leslie, smiling, from a gala years ago. Scrawled on the back, "I'll always be closer than you think." The case remained open. Leslie Thomas had vanished into the shadows. But everyone knew it wasn't over. And Nicole never looked over her shoulder without wondering if Leslie was watching. Weeks passed. The media attention had thinned, the headlines faded from the front pages, but Nicole Richardson never stopped looking over her shoulder. Despite police patrols around her home and updated security systems, she knew in her gut that Leslie Thomas wasn't finished. Ted tried to reassure her and Kat stayed close, but unease lingered like smoke after a fire. Then came the letter. It arrived without postage, slipped under Nicole's front door. The handwriting was unmistakably Leslie's, sharp, elegant, controlled. The note simply read, "You think it ended in that room." It didn't. Kat found Nicole sitting in the kitchen, staring at it. Her mother didn't say a word, but her hands were trembling. That same day, security footage showed a shadowy figure outside the property line, too far for facial recognition, but the build, posture, even the way they turned their head, it had to be Leslie. Nicole went back to the police. The case was reopened as an active threat. Officers patrolled in plain clothes. Surveillance was expanded. Still, the fear returned with full force. Nicole couldn't sleep, couldn't focus. Even her public advocacy work slowed as she turned inward. Kat pushed her to stay strong, to remember what she had survived. But Nicole knew something Kat didn't. Leslie was always several moves ahead. In a desperate move to reclaim her life, Nicole decided to confront the past on her own terms. She reached out to Eva. The meeting was arranged through a third party. Eva, hesitant, agreed to meet Nicole at a neutral location, a counseling center. They sat in silence for minutes before either spoke. "You don't have to be hurt," Nicole finally said. "You can end this." Eva nodded slowly. "I know. I already tried. I thought I did. But she always finds a way back." Then help me stop her. For good. What followed was a plan born out of quiet desperation. Eva, still in loose contact with a few of Leslie's old allies, agreed to act as bait. Nicole hated the idea, but Eva insisted. She won't come out of hiding unless she thinks she can still manipulate someone. Over the next week, Eva began sending carefully worded messages to Leslie through encrypted apps. Messages that implied Nicole was mentally unraveling. That cat was turning on her. That Ted had left. Leslie, true to form, couldn't resist. Then one night, Eva got a reply. A location. A time. A message. No police. Just you and her. One last talk. The meeting was set for an abandoned greenhouse on the outskirts of town. Nicole went in wearing a wire, her pulse pounding, the sting of memory rising with every step she took toward the shattered glass doors. Eva stayed close behind. Leslie appeared moments later, calm and dressed in black. Her expression was unreadable. She didn't flinch when she saw Nicole. In fact, she smiled. You look better than I expected. Nicole kept her voice steady. You came to finish what you started? To end it, Leslie said softly. But not the way you think. She walked closer, slow and deliberate. You took everything from me, Nicole. My reputation. My family. My life. All for what? A grudge? A rumor? You always had the town. I just wanted peace. You wanted control, Nicole replied. And when you couldn't have it, you took it by force. Eva stepped forward. Mom, this has to stop. You have to stop. Leslie looked at her daughter with something between pity and pride. You're still so naive. What happened next unfolded in seconds. Leslie reached into her coat. Police, already listening through the wire, stormed the greenhouse from both entrances. Officers shouted. Guns were raised. Leslie froze, slowly pulling her hand out to reveal nothing more than a folded photo of her and Eva at a fair, years ago. She dropped it on the floor, raised her hands, and surrendered. The trial came quickly. With Eva's full cooperation and the body of evidence already collected, the prosecution had a clear narrative. Leslie was charged with kidnapping, attempted murder, coercion, and a host of lesser crimes. She showed no remorse throughout. Her defense tried to paint her as mentally unstable, a victim of emotional breakdown. But the jury wasn't swayed. Guilty. 25 years without parole. For Nicole, it wasn't the end of fear, but it was the beginning of peace. She moved to a smaller home in the outskirts, a place with more land and fewer neighbors. Kat visited often. Ted, having found purpose again, taught law part-time and helped Nicole with her foundation. Eva disappeared from public view. Last Nicole heard, she had changed her name and was working with trauma survivors. Nicole never reached out again. She knew Eva had done what she could. The past never truly vanished. But some gates, once closed for good, don't need to be watched anymore. You just need to know they're locked. And that you have the key.